Welcome to Finding Truth, the channel where I am trying to find out exactly how much I need to spend to get professional quality images in a professional body in 2019. And I think I've figured it out. It's not as much as you might think. If you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy the information, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Those two things help me out more than you know, and they put these videos in front of more people that may be searching for the same answers that you are. Now let's get on with the video. How's everybody doing today? I just wanted to do a long overdue update on the Fujifilm X T1 in 2019 and how the camera is working out for me personally. I know I've had a lot of people express interest in this camera based on the prices that you can find them at versus buying something that is more modern in digital photography, newer cameras that are out on the market, and because of the build quality being a professional build quality camera for a APS-C sensor. So let's just start out with the things that have really pushed my appreciation for this camera to higher and higher levels every time I pull it out. Number one being the camera layout and build quality. So this is the X T1 right here. It is a great camera, great little camera that does just about everything you could possibly want it to do. The camera layout, the exposure triangle, when we talk about exposure triangle, we're talking about the shutter speed, the ISO, and the aperture are all right here visible at the top of the camera. You've also got your exposure compensation. Having those three or four things easily accessible at the top of the camera is extremely important for the way that I personally shoot. The exposure triangle is fast to set up. It makes it so that I'm able to catch the shots that I want to with very little prep for the conditions that the camera is in. It's all right at the top of the camera and easy to see the results on the screen or through the EVF. When you compare the EVF and the back display to more modern cameras, the display is very adjustable for up and down. You can pull it out if you're looking down on the camera, and you can turn it down if you're looking up at the camera. Aside from that, it doesn't pull out to face forward, so it's a little behind the times on some of the more modern cameras. The EVF itself is clear, it's easy to use, it's quite impressive for its age. The color rendition is top-notch in the images that the camera produces. It has that infamous Fuji color. Using the X-Trans sensor versus the standard bare sensor that most modern cameras use, there is a visible improvement in the color quality, in my opinion. And it's a joy to work with in Lightroom, or when converting RAW files to TIFF files to bring into Lightroom. I currently am testing out the capabilities of Capture One for RAW file conversion, and I'll report my experiences after I have more experience with the program. The clarity and sharpness of the images at only 16 megapixels is amazing at just how good these images are. I've often stated that you do not need more megapixels unless you plan to print extremely large. Now, that being said, I do have a good friend of mine, Kevin, who shoots a Sony full-frame 24 megapixel camera, and I think I will ask him to do a print comparison with me, go out and take some shots of the same thing at the same time, print them out in different sizes, and see at what point does the 16 megapixels start to fall apart. And I think you'll be pretty impressed with the results of that, so keep your eyes peeled for that video. The processing in camera is always fast and has never caused me to an issue by slowing it down to where I missed a shot that I wanted to take. Now that did used to be an issue for me when I was shooting some of the older Nikon cameras. The processing was kind of slow in camera, and when you got to the end of the buffer, you would just have to sit and wait for a few seconds, and you might miss that one shot that you've been waiting for all day. That can be extremely annoying. I have not experienced that with the X-T1. Fujifilm support and updates is great. They're great at keeping the cameras up to date, and they have released several updates over the years, not only improving what was already in the camera, but adding some features along the way to keep it up to date or closer to date with their more modern cameras or newer bodies that they're releasing. It'll still not have all of the features simply because it's not capable of some of them, but it's nice that they add the ones that they can, and they don't force you to buy the newer body simply because of one or two features that you would like to have. So that being said, let's take a look at two of the best shots that I got the other weekend. I went out to a local lake with a couple of my friends nice and early to catch that rising sun over the water. I arrived a little late and had to rush to get the camera set up before all that beautiful light was gone. There was a couple of fellows out there launching their small boat into the lake at the time, and I knew this was going to be a great shot if I could just get set up before they were out of the shot. The blue mountains in the background are several miles from the shoreline, and the atmospheric haze was turning them a beautiful blue. Without the access to the exposure triangle that the X-T1 provides, I would not have been able to prep the camera quickly enough to get the shot. Scrolling through endless menus was not an option. This image is a prime example of how this old school form factor just works for me quickly and easily. I was so pleased with the results. The color rendition was beautiful and easy to work with in Lightroom. The sharpness of the lines was crisp, and the depth of field perfect for the situation. Shooting the 18-55 2.8 to 4 kit lens at 18 millimeters and f8 provided the look I was after. After all, it is one of the best kit lenses on the market. A few turns of the dials and I was off to the races, clicking away. I think in this instance, the results speak for themselves. Now, I am not a professional photographer, but I love the results I get from this camera. The second shot was not as rushed. The light was less colorful, the foreground empty, and I wanted to get that glassy water feel that only a long exposure will produce. I took the time and added a variable neutral density filter to the lens and put it at 14 stops of density. The effect was exactly what I was looking to get, from the water to the smooth and creamy clouds in the background. The clarity of the small puddles in the dirt on the lower right of the frame just added a little bit of rough tension to the image that I was very pleased with in the end result. While I was out there, I pulled out my A5 to do some comparison shots and was struggling with the menu system to get the camera to do what I saw in my mind's eye. This just confirmed to me the value of that clearly visible exposure triangle on the X-T1. Aside from that, the bare filter simply did not produce the pleasing color that I'm used to from the X-Trans filter of the X-T1. For me, this was the first real direct comparison, and the difference was noticeable. All of that being said, I am now 10 months into my exploration of the X-T1 as a viable camera in 2019. And I have to tell you, I am extremely pleased with the results. I have a feeling that this camera will stay with me well into 2020, 2021, possibly 2022. It's that good. What are the downsides? If you're looking to do video, this is not the best camera for that option. Although you can pull it off, I would recommend manual focus instead of autofocus when shooting video. It definitely tends to search for focus a lot during the video process. If you don't mind manually focusing and you don't mind shooting in 1080p, it does a fair job. Other than that, the megapixel size could be an issue if you are trying to print out large format prints. But we are talking extremely large format, full image quality prints. Very, very few people do that. It's very rare that I even print an image, much less a large one. If you can get your hands on an X-T1 and you're looking for the best quality camera that you can get for under $500, you will not be disappointed. I highly, highly recommend this camera. Thank you for checking out the video. Have a great day.